Mr. Speaker, today I rise to share with my honorable colleagues and the community at large the efforts that are being undertaken to develop a workforce for Bermuda schools and the professional development that will be provided throughout education reform and thereafter. Mr. Speaker, commencing on January 2021 and to date, the Ministry of Education has been holding consultation meetings to share the introduction of parent primary school proposals. During many of these consultation meetings, participants have asked, what will you do to prepare teachers for the new vision of learning? How will you get them ready for transformation? Mr. Speaker, we have responded that professional development will play a key role in preparing teachers to implement a powerful vision for learning that we expect to take place in Bermuda's classrooms every day. We have also stated that professional development will be provided throughout educational reform, and it will continue after the Bermuda public school system has been transformed. Specifically, professional development will be ongoing and job-embedded to ensure that our teachers are equipped with the knowledge and skills needed to help all students achieve high learning development standards and improve student results. Mr. Speaker, the OECD comprises of 37 member countries that discuss and develop economic and social policy. The OECD's stated goal is to shape policies that foster prosperity, equality, opportunity, and well-being for all. Mr. Speaker, the OECD is an important organization because it plays a key role in sharing information data and measuring progress on poverty eradication or inequality, and in bringing to the forefront solutions pertinent to the betterment of humanity and children. Mr. Speaker, an excerpt from an OECD report on professional development states, and I quote, "In many countries, the role and functioning of schools are changing, and so what is expected of teachers. Teachers are asked to teach in increasingly multicultural classrooms, to place greater emphasis on integrating students with special learning needs in their classrooms, to make more effective use of information and communication technologies for teaching, to engage in more planning within evaluative and accountability frameworks, and to do more to involve parents in school. Education systems, therefore, must seek to provide teachers with opportunities for professional development in order to maintain a high standard of teaching and to retain a high-quality teacher workforce." End quote. Mr. Speaker, we recognize the integral role of teachers and leaders who have had significant responsibilities placed on them. We also acknowledge the Department of Education's role in ensuring ongoing opportunities for professional development. Mr. Speaker, the OECD adopts a broad definition of professional development. It is defined as, quote, "activities that develop an individual's skills, knowledge, expertise, and other characteristics as a teacher," end quote. An OECD report also stated that professional development could serve the following objectives: to update individuals' knowledge of a subject in light of recent advances in the area, to update an individual's skills, attitudes, and approaches in light of the development of new teaching techniques and objectives, new circumstances, and new educational research, to enable individuals to apply changes made to curricula and to other aspects of teaching practice, to enable schools to develop and apply new strategies concerning the curriculum and other aspects of teaching practice, to exchange information and expertise amongst teachers and others, i.e. IG, academics, industrialists, and to help weaker teachers become more effective. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry and the Department of Education recognize the critical importance of professional development and the need to provide professional development for our leaders, teachers, and school staff on an ongoing basis. Mr. Speaker, providing professional development during education reform is extremely important as we prepare for the significant changes that legislation will bring to Bermuda's public school system by 1, phasing out middle schools, 2, introducing signature schools, 3, introducing a signature school for students with exceptionalities, 4, introducing an alternative education signature school, and 5, adding two additional years to primary school and 1 additional year to senior school. Mr. Speaker, Plan 2022, Priority 3, communicates the strategies that are to be executed as it relates to developing the workforce that is responsible for equipping Bermuda's children with the knowledge, skills, values, and dispositions so that they can successfully transition to college and university and to the workforce and to ultimately lead and compete locally and globally, fulfilling the vision for education. Mr. Speaker, professional development for teachers is an imperative. We know that the evidence continues to accumulate, showing that teachers' high-quality professional development influences student performance. High-quality professional development is essential to the nation's goals of high standards of learning for every child. The most important investment school systems can make is to ensure that leaders and teachers continue to learn. Mr. Speaker, the OECD indicates that professional development activities can include the following: courses or workshops, i.e. on subject matter or methods and or other education-related topics, education conferences or seminars, at which teachers and or researchers present their research results and discuss education problems, qualification programs, i.e. degree programs, observation visits to other schools, participation in a network of teachers formed specifically for the professional development of teachers, individual or collaborative research in a topic of professional interest, and mentoring and or peer observation and coaching as part of a formal school arrangement, reading professional literature, i.e. journals, evidence-based papers, thesis papers, and engaging in informal dialogue with peers on how to improve teaching. Mr. Speaker, over the past 3.5 years, the Department of Education has provided quality professional development activities for our teachers and specialist staff, including paraeducators and education therapist assistants, including the types of professional development activities I just referenced. All of these efforts are aligned with Plan 2022 Priority 3, which focus on the efforts to be expanded to enhance the quality of teaching practices and system leadership. Mr. Speaker, there are designated professional development days on the academic calendar each year in September, October, January, and February. This past September 2020, we added additional days for professional development to ensure that school leaders and staff were well versed about the new entry and exit safety and health protocols, which would have to be strictly adhered to in our schools in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Speaker, the Professional Development Days designated on the academic calendar, in addition to site-based professional development days set aside for school leaders to coordinate site-based professional development and hold workshops facilitated for school staff by Department of Education technicals. Mr. Speaker, this year, in support of our principal's efforts to hold site-based professional development aligned with school improvement plans and in alignment with Plan 2022 Strategy 3.1.1, 3 days were designated for schools to close early. The first early closure for professional development was on 2 p.m. Tuesday, November 10, 2020. And as a reminder to parents and guardians, the remaining early closure for professional development will take place on Thursday, August 1st, 2021, and Thursday, May 27th, 2021 at 2 p.m. Mr. Speaker, the types of professional development activities that the Department of Education provided for teachers and school staff during February 2021 Professional Development Days serve as an excellent example of the quality and type of professional development provided by officers, school staff, and community partners. These professional development activities included workshops in a range of topics, including using digital tools and dealing with our staff and teachers' social, emotional needs. They include 1, standard-based grading assessments, ongoing professional development. 2, math mastery flow in support of our efforts to improve math instruction and student outcomes for mathematics. 2, psychologically safe. 4, grading assessments in Schoology. 5, getting started with Peer Deck, how to use interactive Google Slides for presentation. 6, maximizing videos with Edpuzzle. 7, innovative ways to use clickers, using clickers to increase student engagement. 8, using the flipped classroom. 9, creating your own Bitmoji. 10, creating and using digital and interactive notebooks. 11, using and managing your Google Drive. 12, resiliency in your classroom. 13, are you using your self-care toolkit facilitated by the EAP? 14, social studies assessment creation. 15, math assessment creation. 16, middle school science teacher constructivist learning model and backwards design. 17, English language arts assessment creation. 18, foreign language assessment creation. 19, creating a future for the arts. 20, behavior specialist training, behavior for behavior interventions. 22, the purpose and policy of intervention learning plans. And 23, student services, meeting the needs of our students. Mr. Speaker, efforts have been made that the professional development activities allow for school staff to go deeper and deeper with the workshops content during the year. For example, workshops on standard-based grading takes place during all workshop days to enable teachers and leaders to go deeper and deeper in the learning content and skills. Mr. Speaker, staff have opportunities to select the workshops. However, Mr. Speaker, some of the workshops provided are also mandatory for staff. This occurs when there are system-wide practices that teachers and leaders are expected to carry out at the school level. Even when the sessions are mandatory, there is still some opportunity to personalize professional development. For example, Mr. Speaker, all teachers in the Bermuda public school system must participate in workshops on Schoology. However, staff can access the workshops in both self-paced or virtual workshops. Also, Mr. Speaker, since May 2020, EAP has played a key role in providing workshops for BPSS staff during system-wide professional development days and at other times. To date, EAP has facilitated over 26 sessions with staff, focusing on equipping them with tools and strategies to navigate the demands of their roles. Mr. Speaker, we have included these workshops from the EAP because our staff's social and emotional well-being is critical. Mr. Speaker, in addition to these offerings, professional development activities connected specifically to staff and students' needs are determined and coordinated by the senior school principal, the principal at Dane, and the acting director of Success Academy during designated professional development days. Mr. Speaker, I want to take a moment to highlight that the entire staff at Dane, who, under the guidance of the principal, are working to earn registered behavior technician certification, and in some members of the staff have already successfully completed the training. Mr. Speaker, the Assistant of Early Childhood Education leads and coordinates the professional development activities for preschool administrators and staff. Preschool leaders and teachers have been receiving intensive professional development designed to ensure integration of the inquiry model for teaching and learning with the creative curriculum. There have also been significant investment in professional development in use of Teacher Strategies Go, the online platform for planning, documentation, assessment, and communication internally and with parents and guardians. Mr. Speaker, I would also highlight that the Bermuda Public School preschools have earned Teaching Strategies Gold Ambassador status recognition because of their commitment to improving children's outcomes through professional development. Mr. Speaker, we have communicated our commitment to a foundation week. As we prepare for this, starting this year, early years training for primary one teachers has been provided twice a month to equip teachers with evidence-based strategies to increase student engagement and facilitate active learning. Teachers have also learned how to engage in authentic assessment by using students' observations in more creative exploration during inquiry learning. Teachers have been exposed to a more progressive, engaging, and personalized approach to teaching and learning, which has opened the teachers to the possibilities of what can be achieved through active learning and inquiry learning. Mr. Speaker, training in SERTs, social communication, emotional regulation, transitional supports, started a few years ago. This year, the training continued to provide continuity and ongoing progress of the growing connections preschool children with ASD and developmental delays. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, learning support teachers as ASD and functional skills classes receive coaching on coaching on engaging and supporting children with challenges within their classroom's natural environment. Mr. Speaker, ensuring our students with special needs are provided quality services. The learning support teachers have been provided with ongoing professional training on the school team process, pre-referral intervention process, IEP planning and audits, intervention learning plans, dyslexia, ADHD, and identifying key concepts with behavior. Learning support teachers were also presented with IEP implementation and documentation methods to collect data for IEPs and ILPs accurately. Professional development was provided for school staff in learning styles that focused on children's instructional behavior and environmental needs. Mr. Speaker, workshops are also provided for paraeducators and educational therapists as required by Plan 2022 Strategy 3.2.1. Mr. Speaker, principals are responsible for leading and coordinating professional development for their staff throughout the year. At the primary and middle level, the professional development is aligned with the targets and objectives set out in the school improvement plans. In collaboration with education officers, principals deliver site-based professional development on the following areas: writing proficiency, mathematics, reading, research-based instructional strategies, and innovation. This is also connected to the government's education platform and its commitment to ensuring teachers' professional development to improve students' learning outcomes. Mr. Speaker, outgoing professional development is also provided for school principals and the Department of Education technical officers each month by a standards-based grading committee. Principals and deputy principals also participate in workshops facilitated by the Assistant Director of Educational Standards and Accountability. Mr. Speaker, in alignment with Plan 2022 Strategy 3.5, the first principal certification program has commenced at the Bermuda College by a partnership with Framingham State University. The graduate certificate program in educational leadership started on October 12, 2020, and the cohort of 13, and Mr. Speaker, there might be a mistake in the statement that was issued. It should say 14, but that should be 13. And the cohort of 13 educators include teachers, year level heads, mentor teachers, deputy principals, acting principals, and Department of Education officers. Mr. Speaker, teacher professional development is an essential component of the comprehensive school reform. As we look to the future of education, we recognize that we will need a high-quality, sustainable professional learning plan for teachers, specialist staff, school, and Department of Education officers. That plan will be sustainable, research, and include 1. Site-based professional learning which targets the needs of individual schools and their staff. 2. System-wide professional learning focused on building the knowledge and skills of all staff for national priorities that will improve the outcomes for students. And 3. National level professional learning for all students on island. The Department of Education will also look to the National Education Institute, NER, to provide leadership with professional learning opportunities for all of Bermuda's educators. The National Educators Institute will provide strands of professional learning, including pedagogy, social emotional learning, peer coaching, research and scholarship, and brothers as scholars. Teachers for Teachers will facilitate the NER professional learning. It will be job-embedded, ongoing, and based on educator interest, inquiry-based, and include peer coaching. Mr. Speaker, I want to share about the work that will take place to develop the education workforce, while the 6 national and core priorities currently being addressed by the Learning First design team, which is focused on 3 areas. There will be professional learning for educators to support the implementation of school redesign. The ideas that are currently under development in this category include creating a teaching task force of skilled mentors and coaches able to demonstrate and support and quality assure new teaching practices as they are introduced into schools. An approach to practice development based on the proven lesson study model in which educators work together using peer observation and coaching to test and improve new lessons, resources, and assessments, and embed these in their practices. Mr. Speaker, we will introduce consistent teaching standards and shared accountability for excellence. The ideas being explored in this category include the development with the profession of Bermuda professional standards for educators that describe key aspects of effective practice on every career stage from novice to master teacher and into leadership roles, including school principal and administrator. Support for schools to become professional learning communities, rich in evidence-based models for professional learning where collaboration is normal. A professional growth planning team, educators working together each summer to plan, design, and commission professional learning for the coming year based on national and school priorities and educators' needs and interests. Mr. Speaker, we also plan to raise the teaching profession profile and make a career in education a natural choice for Bermuda's brightest graduates. Ideas for achieving this include an annual Bermudian Education Conference showcasing the best of public and private education in Bermuda. Partnerships between schools, businesses, and community organizations to provide work placements, enrichment, and resources for students and career development opportunities for educators, including exchanges and externships. Mr. Speaker, the American Federation of Teachers has stated that the nation can adopt rigorous standards, set forth a visionary scenario, compile the best research about how students learn, change textbooks and assessment, promote teaching strategies that have been successful with a wide range of students, and change all the other elements involved in systematic reform. But without professional development, school reform, and improved achievement for students will not happen. Mr. Speaker, we will continue to make professional development a priority now and throughout education reform. We will also develop an infrastructure for sustainable professional learning for our educators to become a natural part of their work experience. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.